just gonna freestyle this.
Excellent.
So first and foremost, I want you to repeat your the questions and then answer them. Full blown sentences, just like you teach.
Okay.
Um,
I sputter sentence fragments, but here we are.
so, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Mr. Forbes. I'm an ELA English coach, and I teach AP Lang and 11 honors.
So, what introduced you to this job, and how long have you been working here?
I used to have a painting business, and then we had a slow week, and I emailed UMass about the 180 Days program, and the head of the program emailed me back and said, we have an opening tomorrow for interview day. And then I went and knocked it out of the park and met Dr. Tokars, met Miss Mackey, and went through the interview process. And by the end of it, I was coming to Central, and I went home that day and called my then fiance and said, hey, I think I'm no longer a painter, I'm gonna be a teacher. And that was 14 years ago, which is kind of on a whim.
How was it transitioning from that paint job to becoming a teacher?
It was night and day, kind of. So the key to teaching is organization, being able to do what it is you say you're going to do in a timely fashion. And you also need to be able to sell, right? And I think teaching is sales and entertainment, right? Is 90% of the job, and 10% curriculum, because students won't respond unless they feel comfortable and will entertain. And the same thing was true in the painting world, where you needed to be, efficient and sell yourself to the client in order to get the job. So that was a skill I sharpened there that I brought to interview day, and then have kind of snowballed through my career here at Central.
So, what is your favorite things about teaching that you couldn't find in that paint job?
I think it was the actual interaction with teenagers and students, and that aspect of it. Painting can be super lonely, but I had a few paint jobs where I ended up tutoring the children of the people I was painting for, or talking books with people. A long time ago, right after college, I also ran a pizza shop, and there I had high school kids working under me, and I'd help them with their homework, and we would go over stuff, and we would kind of bull stuff about what it is they were doing in class. So something that always interested me, and I was never going to do it. It was that kind of thing. I was going to be famous. I was going to be on SNL, and I tried that, and my family stuff happened. I had to move back here. But it was those little interactions that just kept piling up, and then when I finally tried, it was what I was looking for.
So I want to get more personal. So how is your family life like? How long ago did you meet your wife now?
Yeah.
And how many kids have you guys had since then? And how have things been?
A billion. So I met my wife 2008. So I met her. I was out of college 4 years. And the guy I ran a painting business with was having a party at this. They had this crazy house in Sunderland. There used to be a fish hatchery. So they're having a party there for Labor Day weekend. And my wife had just moved home from graduating college, and I met her, and she said crazy things to me. I was like, who is this chick? And then the relationship developed really quickly. We got married in 2011. And now we got 2 kids, Harrison Joseph Forbes and Delaney Grace Forbes. They're 8, Harry will be 8, and Dee Dee just turned 5 on Halloween. So it's hectic, man. You leave here and you drink an energy drink or a coffee because you got to start being a dad, at 2:20 till 9.
You said you wanted to be on SNL.
Yeah.
What did that look like? What was that process like, and how have you sort of carried that into your just everyday life?
Here, I think we got to go back. This is a 2-parter.
Okay.
So in college, I wrote for our newspaper. I did humor columns and op-eds, and it was always sharpening that tool, right? You're a fat poor kid in affluent white Belchertown, you sharpen that sword or you get eaten alive. So I've always been that guy, you know what I mean? I was like, man, I turn this into money. So I went and took classes at Second City in the New York version, and then got hired to write and perform in their show. And things were going well. One day there was talks that like one of the producers was in the audience, performed, knocked it out of the park. Find out later that the director of our show was like, oh no, he's not interested. I wasn't privy to this at the time. And then my grandfather got cancer, right? So, and he was my dude. He was my dad, my best friend growing up. So I was like, all right, cool. Like packed my stuff, moved back up to Massachusetts, started slinging pizzas and doing day jobs, like opened the painting business just to get away from it. I was hungry for that part. And now I think I've brought that into the classroom, right? I'm a firm believer, like comedy's the hardest thing to do, right? Most people just aren't funny. A lot of people think they are, they're just not. So in class, like, it's an opportunity, like the first 5 minutes, you say whatever you want, do whatever you want, you know what I mean? And I was kind of grounded in the lesson, but if I can make you laugh, then I know I can make you work on like, do something hard, right? So laughter, as your brain is activated, you relax, and then I've got you. Then I can teach you a little something to make you work on something you can't do yet. So I get to kind of sharpen that sword every day in that situation, in the classroom, and then kind of also use my brain and teach you a skill. So it's kind of the perfect storm of things I love. When I was little, I used to buy George Carlin albums, like CDs, and hide them, and then I keep them, I listen to them on repeat over and over and over and over till I memorized the bits. So he was a huge influence. I also, what was that guy? Mitch Hedberg was I was in like middle school and college, or excuse me, high school and college. He died, but he had like the weirdest sense of humor, but could like spin a joke really well. And now it's like also like Tracy Morgan. I don't know, something of like his stand-up's awful, but when he's in an interview or just kind of like talking, I think he's the funniest human being alive.
On the topic of comedy.
Yes, sir.
Do you ever expect to kind of try it out eventually in your future? Do you ever see yourself actually just messing around and being like, you know what, let me go to a comedy club and try it out?
Getting back, I don't know, that's a double-edged sword because I enjoy nightlife. Like I love it. And I don't want to Chris Farley or ruin my family and my household, if that if that makes sense. Because I know me and what I love, and in that pocket, I get really carried away.
It's an atmosphere.
Yeah.
You want to surround yourself with it and get carried away.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in the next few years, and why, and where do you expect to take your career and life in general?
So next year, I'm going back into the classroom. Like right now, I teach 2 sections, and the rest of the time I work with teachers. And I miss the classroom. I really do. Working with folks like you, it's different, right? Working with adults is just different. So I'm going back to the classroom. So that's where I'm headed. Where I go from there, who knows? But the goal, and I think, is to stay there. You know, I enjoy it more. It's fulfilling. You know, you can't ask for a better job than this. Coming from somewhere where you worked every day, especially the restaurant business, where you work at 9 a.m. to midnight.
What is some of the most bizarre experiences you've had working this job?
First, I used to teach drama because I came from an improv background, like a sketch background.
Okay.
So that for some reason made me eligible to teach high school drama. Okay. But I gave the assignment one day and said, you have 30 minutes to come up with a sketch that makes me laugh. Sure, they go on their way. And then this group starts and they put 5 chairs on stage. And there's 4 girls sitting, and this other girl comes running in, sits down, and starts pushing on the walls and screaming. Then proceeds for 5 minutes to take the most excruciating dump of her life. Yeah, you've met me, I'm not that mature. So I'm in tears laughing. I was like, this is the most inappropriate thing that has ever happened. So this was like my second year here, didn't know anything, you know what I mean? Like not horrible what I do. Like I'm a master of what I do now and I know that, right? But at that time, I'm horrible at what I do. And I was like, I need clear directions, crisper directions, because it was embarrassing. But what do? You know, at that moment, it was like, and like everyone just, all the students are staring at me. And I was like, that one was wild. That one was tough.
Did she get an A?
Those classes really helped me sharpen my skills at this. It's like, there needs to be a purpose. There needs to be something clear, clean directions. Otherwise, that happens.
What are some things you'd like to tell the world if it were your last message? Yeah, like if it was the last thing you could tell if this were to go viral and you had to tell the world a really important message that you felt like would touch everybody, what would it be?
Keep trapping.